Yay, we're back. I think we're back. I'm hoping we're back. No, we are back. Hey everybody, how's it going? Zach Clayton. It is Wednesday night. We have a lot of news to go through today. As you guys saw in the very opening, the announcement that I've been wanting to make ever since February 22nd, the 22-hour podcast, it's been made. It's been made. Can I start this over like from yesterday? That way I can, take time off. No, it has been made. We are starting with some great partners of mine. One of them being Stephanie Samos, who I'm going to be bringing on here very shortly. We are going to be talking about suicide, not just veteran suicide. It is going to be very veteran heavy. But this is about suicide altogether. You guys saw in that video, thousands and thousands of suicides every year. And the longer we stay quiet about it, the longer it's going to keep going the wrong way. We need you to help us. It's going to be a program that's going to premiere on May Day at 11 o'clock East, okay? And the way that we're going to be doing this, I know a lot of people have watched 60 Minutes, and this is a show kind of in that vein, where what we want to do is we want to have different people. We want to have different voices. We want to make sure that everybody knows that this isn't just one voice, It's not one talking head for 22 straight hours, thank God. No, this is going to be a lot of people, a lot of businesses who are coming together to try to help put voices and put ideas and share wonderful programs that are around the world. One of them you're going to be hearing from today. He's going to be one of our very first guests, and what it is they're talking about solutions, because as I've said over and over and over and over again, there is no good way that suicide ends. Suicide is finality. Suicide is the end. Suicide is a bunch of sadness. That's all it is. And we need to make sure that we're not afraid to talk about it, because if we're afraid to talk about it, we can't face it. Now, saying this, we do understand not everybody is outgoing. Not everybody can talk about it. One of the things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting together a list of people that you can immediately call, because the last thing that you want to do is have in your head that the last conversation I had with this person could be the last conversation I've ever had with that person. Look, this is a very, very serious problem. We need you to join us. So it's one more show that we're adding to the pACT channel, and I'm thrilled to be getting this done. After the 22-hour podcast, when I brought this show up, it was simply this. I spend one day talking about suicide, and then we don't really mention it a lot for the next 364 days. It's not doing any good. So let's make sure that we continue this conversation. Are we going to be able to stop everyone from committing suicide? Not unless we don't. Don't try. If we don't give it an effort, we don't stand any chance. So we need you to join us. Like I said before, we've got some very, very great companies that are going to be joining us, and we're going to be talking more about them in the upcoming weeks, and I'm going to be bringing them on and introducing you. We've got some very important podcasters who are joining us. Richard Kaufman is a veteran podcaster who does very, very well in the United States. And we're just thrilled that he's going to lend a voice and credence to what we're doing, because this is very serious. So, but now we're going to get on to fun stuff. Let's talk about wine, shall we? As you guys know, we do this twice a month, and I had some of my favorite time in the world because I get to hang out with this beautiful lady, the goddess of the grape, Stephanie Samos. Hello, Stephanie.
How are you? I'm doing well, Zach, and I must say that was a great introduction. And, I am honored to have been asked to even collaborate on this mission with you. So I'm very excited for it.
Stephanie, you and we started this program last year. We've been doing it about a year now, and all we wanted to do was take and make sure that we were supporting nonprofits from around the world. And I'm so thrilled that we've got two great nonprofits with us again today, which is fantastic. But it's got to get a little bit further than just bringing some eyes to them. We've got to make sure that we're taking care of them and making sure other people know. And I know that you and your husband are working very hard to do some great things here in the near future. And so asking you to come along and join the show, it was simple, and it was very easy, and I'm really glad that I got to do it. So,
no, thank you, Zach, and hopefully, fighting against that homeless population with the veterans is going to help all around with all the topics that we'll be talking about. So,
I think that there are so many things that go into many problems, and I think this is great because in our two guests tonight, we've got everything from here in the United States to overseas to there's so much caring with our two guests, and I'm extremely excited to get started on this. But Stephanie, please tell us, what is a cause entrepreneur?
Yeah, so if you're watching the show for the first time, my name is Stephanie Simoes, and what I do with ONEHOPE is I specialize in fundraising, gifting, private wine events, and wine delivery. I'm just so excited. I haven't met Lori until tonight, so I can't wait to hear about the foundation. And Dennis, I've worked with in the past, and gosh, when you hear about what the Price of Freedom Foundation is doing, it's a tearjerker for sure. I mean, I know we've had some on the show, Zach, and I don't cry very often, but man, we had a heck of a show the last time Dennis and I got together. So really excited to have them both here today.
Well, I just know that Lori and I got to talk about a month ago, and I mean, she's a ball of energy, and she's so excited about what she's got started. And I'm just excited that she's not only joining us this month, but she's also a community pay it forward mission partner, which means that we get to support her simply by using our program. And I'm extremely excited about that. So let's go on ahead and bring on our guests, shall we?
Awesome.
I would like to first, from the Landin Foundation, Lori Landin.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I am so happy to be here. Thank you. I'm doing great.
Well, I appreciate you joining us, and especially, you and I were talking about this earlier, so getting you on here is so cool, because this is what a better way to get started with our partnership than bring you on in and get it started right?
I'm ready. I am so ready. This is perfect.
All right. And then from the Price of Freedom Foundation, Mr. Dennis Schroeder. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing excellent. Just glad to be here with you, and honored to be a part of what you all are doing.
Yeah.
Well, this is usually we were doing two organizations at once, and then we kind of scaled back and we were only doing one. But I'll be honest with you, with what Stephanie had told me about you, Dennis, and had already talked to Lori about this was just one of those times that I didn't want to pick and choose. So we wanted to do both of them. You guys are both well deserving of what we're doing, and so we're extremely excited about having you.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's not a problem, and I look forward to getting this kicked off this month. Lori, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Lori Landin Foundation?
Well, our foundation was actually given to me through inspiration. Really quickly, my background story: I was a music teacher. I have a master's degree in conducting. I taught music and theater for many years in schools and did a lot in community. And I went through a diagnosis in 2012 of an incurable illness. And the doctor said that I had 9 pills a day for the rest of my life. There was no option. I would never be able to get off it. And so as I was still teaching, I dove into health and wellness, and I have been off all medications for 10 years. And so that's been an amazing journey. It led me to becoming a board certified health coach, a life coach, a essential oil coach, all of these things. And in that process, there was a point in 2018 where I was dealing with my healing journey, and my mother's health was failing, and I knew I had no time freedom because I was a teacher of performing arts, and that takes your time. As a teacher, you're there all day and night rehearsals, and I knew things were going to have to change. And so I went to an event, and at that event, I was inspired that when I left, that I had 3 things. I had to, number one, let go of my career. That was a big leap of faith, because that was my life, and I still perform all the time. You can see my piano and other instruments back there. But it was a big change. And number 2, I knew that I had to focus my life on love and connection. And number 3, I had this intense desire to become free to give, meaning free in my health, free in my time, location, purpose, and finance. And so I left my career a month later, and I began this journey of becoming a coach globally. But I realized I didn't have marketing skills, so I dove into marketing and invested in myself again. And through that process, it led me to challenge marketing, which I became a certified challenge consultant under the industry leader. And in that process, I was coaching a young man who found me on Facebook. He was looking for help, desperately in need, from Kenya. So I began to serve him and changed his life, saved his life, literally. And in that process, a year ago, January, when I was coaching him in a session, I was inspired that I had to start a global foundation. And this foundation would be under my name, the Lori Landin Foundation. My tagline would be bringing nations together in service, in unity and love. And my process would be unlike any other. It would be reaching out to the one in their unique need, one individual, family, or organization. We would be meeting their needs, helping them become self-reliant, and planting a seed to give back. And that has been my journey. Over this past year, we have saved over 50 individual lives from malaria, from typhoid, life-saving surgeries. We've rescued a baby off the street. We've also buried 7, provided burials for 7, 6 children and a mother. We have provided food for orphanages, school supplies, school fees for orphanages and individuals. We've helped people start businesses. We've taken people from the slums, got them into apartments, helped them create their dream business and become self-reliant. We are building training centers. We are working on getting garden spaces. We have a soccer club in Nairobi, Kenya that started with 5 orphan boys and now has grown to over 70 boys and girls. It's exploding. The Kenya government wants us to come and claim a check from them because they're so appreciative of what we're doing. In Uganda, when I was in Uganda, I was asked to speak on the radio station, at the radio station. I was taken to all the village churches to speak, and all of the people, thousands of people, I have hugged every one of them, and I know exactly what their needs are. In the US, we serve veterans, we serve homeless. We're working on serving the school systems through our benefit concerts. It's just unreal. And what's really cool, just in this short amount of time, we're currently serving in the US, we're serving Nigeria, we're serving Kenya, we're serving Uganda. We've served a lady in Pakistan, a 70-year-old burn victim. But I have connections waiting for us to open service in South Africa, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Ghana, Liberia, Mexico, Cuba, New Zealand, Scotland, Nepal, Pakistan, India, Romania, Bulgaria, and Poland. So I've already got the connections waiting for us to open service once the funding is able to expand out. It's unbelievable the way this has just blown up. It's beautiful. And all of these people have become my family. I know them. I'm mom to most all of them right over there. And spending my time walking the streets of the slums and having dinner in their mud homes in the villages and really learning what people are living, what their conditions are like. And that's my goal is to be able to go to all the places we serve so that I can know them, develop those relationships and truly serve them and meet their needs, but not just meet the needs and leave them begging, meet their needs and help them become self-reliant. And that's a really important piece. We have 100 mothers that are single moms in Uganda who are on the streets. They're ladies of the night because they have no education and no skills. We're working on getting sewing equipment, beauty salon equipment, so we can train them in skills and they can create businesses for themselves. It's beautiful to see the things that are happening. It's just incredible.
What is one of the first things, Lori, when you walk into an area? What is one of the first things that you ask? What's the first need that you try to take care of?
You know, it's interesting because all of the people that have helped me through this, they have come to me for help, and I've transformed their lives and they've joined me. I have that young man in Kenya who's one of my operations managers. I have a young man in Nigeria, a young man in Uganda. They have been the ones who have been able to help me find people that we need to serve. And then when I go over there, of course, I find people while I'm walking through. But as far as the startup of this was really from those key people. As I helped them, they have hearts that give. It's unbelievable. I could tell you story after story. But my young man in Kenya, he spends his days with the children in the orphanage. He lost his parents when he was serving a church mission, which left him devastated. His family extended family didn't like the church they belonged to, so they disowned him. When he came back after 2 years of serving, his home was gone. All of the belongings were sold. Everything was gone, and no family would connect with him. He was left. He was 24 years old. That's when he reached out to me, and he was in desperate need. He was really desperate for help. But his heart is just unbelievable. His entire day, he spends his day serving people, finding people who need help, giving everything he has, which is little, to help them. You know, it's so beautiful. But that's where my connections have come from. All of them have come to me, and we've been able to grow from that. There's some beautiful stories I could share if we had the time. When I was over there, where I was able to serve a young man who we buried his brother and his mother. He was a 6-year-old boy. We saved his life from malaria and provided burials for his mom and brother, who was all his family. I was able to spend time getting to know him on my second trip last summer. I did 2 trips to Africa. And when I went back, I spent time with him. When we left this restaurant where I took him to dinner, we came out and there was a little girl sitting on the side of the parking lot, and you could tell she was begging. She was hungry. She was really hungry. And when I walked over to her, I could tell she was very sick. She wasn't well. So we took her in, I got her food, and I had my guy find out where she lived, which was in the slums, with her single mom and her little sister. Shortly after her little sister died, we provided the burial for that sister. We took the mom and the girl out of that slum area. We got them into an apartment, got them beds, got them a stove, got them toothbrush, toothpaste, all the basics, helped the mother create the business that she wanted to do. So now they are perfect. They're self-reliant. The daughter's in school. She's had medical care. We've been able to do that for that family. That is what we do. We look to find the needs. We serve the needs and then help them become self-reliant. And now they're giving back. They're part of everything with us. It's just beautiful to see the life-changing, you know, that's taking place. And they're all unique. Every story is different, but every story is saving lives. You know, my orphans, my kids, all the kids that have almost died from malaria that we've been able to save. I mean, it's unbelievable to be a part of this. And I truly feel blessed and honored to have been given that inspiration to do this. And that, you know, when I said yes, within a month, we were a nonprofit 501c3. Everything just came into place. And I could tell this was the mission. And when that happened, that same month was March of last year. The very beginning of March, we were a 501c3. I took off to Scotland and then 2 trips to Africa 2 weeks later. And it's just been phenomenal. It's just been so beautiful. The lives we've been able to touch and impact, and truly we're changing the economic state of the people in poverty there. And it's just, you know, because I'm a business coach as well in marketing. And so I'm running challenges for the people in poverty to help them learn how they can create a business from their life skills and their opportunity that they can have to completely pull out of that situation. And I take young men who are over there that think they have no hope for anything. They're now dreaming what they want to do. They're creating the businesses of those dreams and being able to see that there is a light. They can get out of that situation in those children's homes and where they're living, where they have nothing. They have nothing. I mean, the kids sleep on the mud floors. There's nothing. They go 4 or 5 days without any food, and food to them is rice. You know, it's just unreal that people are really living this way, but they are. And so to be a part of that is beautiful. And in the U.S., to serve the veterans, to serve the homeless, it's a whole different need, but it's a need, you know. And oftentimes I'll go out driving on the street to find homeless people who I can help. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful to be able to dedicate my life to doing this every day. And that's what I've done. I've created my life to be based around this service. And it's amazing. I'm so blessed, so blessed. You know, I say the giver truly is the receiver. It's so true. You know, it's so beautiful.
You know, one of the things that I really enjoyed about your program when we first talked was, I tell people all the time that Community Pay It Forward is not a nonprofit, because we don't ever want to be put in a position to tell somebody, I'm sorry, I love what you're doing, but we cannot help you because you don't fall under our 501c3. You can't fit squarely into that little box that the government has given me. And you guys both understand what I'm talking about there. And you, your program, what you're building, I think is great because you don't, your box is fairly wide, and you're able to work with people in many different aspects.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. You know, it's like there's nobody we cannot help. We can help whoever's in need. And that's my goal, is just to find, and what's really neat is I'm bringing the nations together. My young man in Kenya travels with me to Uganda. They would not normally communicate to each other, right? They're different groups of people, but they are brothers, and they're serving their people. You know, they're serving. We're all family, and that's what's so beautiful. It's uniting the nations. It's bringing these people together, and myself included, into their lives. You know, and it's just it's so beautiful to see that happen, where normally they wouldn't have thought to get close, let alone become family, right?
And the crazy thing is, it's so simple to actually teach people how to work together. You know, there's this whole thing right now where it's impossible to work with one person or another because, you know, no, it's not impossible. All you have to do is put your mind to it, and you know, maybe not talk quite as much, and put your mind towards it, and you can really do a lot of good things. Lori, what are some of the most and we know that money is very important, and that's what we are trying to do. We're trying to work with One Hope Lines on this program to raise money for you. But what are some of the other things that if somebody could donate, what are some of the other things that you guys could really use?
Well, you know, I'm looking for individual donations, but also cause marketers or businesses that would like to sponsor. We need uniforms and cleats for our soccer kids, which is going to expand beyond Kenya. It's going to become a global foundation football club, right? Soccer club. So those are needs, and those kids are now getting scholarships. These are kids that were on the street. They had nothing. It's so amazing. But beyond that, I mean, donations for over there are difficult to ship, and that's why the monetary donations are easier, because we can actually get the money and then go buy the items and take them in. But we can ship, and so any school supplies, clothing, computer stuff. I mean, some businesses have computers they're getting rid of, or phones they're getting rid of. Those are things we use. We're helping them get technology so they can stay connected to us, and also so they can start building businesses of their own. And also serving in the U.S. I mean, we've got schools, we've got homeless, we've got veterans, we've got people in need here that could use items, you know. And I love doing homeless bags. I love taking bags to the homeless people, things that could keep them warm, things that can help them survive, snacks, water. I mean, just some things that will help hold them over a little bit longer, you know, or gift cards or whatever. I mean, just it's really, there's no limit as to what we could use, because we could find someone who needs it. We work with disabled. There's always needs, and of course, clothing and school supplies are needed in every country. Food is needed in every country, and it's amazing because, like, for example, in my orphanage in Kenya or Uganda, for about 100 children, it takes $250 to $300 for an entire month of food. I mean, if you think about that. $300, say 300, and that's giving them enough. You know, their food is basic, but that's what they survive on. That's what they're happy that they can live on it. And so $300 a month will feed 100 children.
A lot of times, schools their secondary purpose is feeding these kids. This is the only food that they can possibly get is when they go to the schools, right?
Sometimes, but most of the children in the orphanages do not get to go to school unless we get them into school. They don't get to go to school. They have no options. They don't even have papers and pencils. When I asked the kids, one of my first experiences with the children in one of the orphanages, I said, "What would you like? You know, treats. What would you like? You know?" I was thinking things like juice boxes and cookies, or you know, things like that. They wanted pencils and paper. They just, and what's so amazing is the kids we're getting into school are in the top of the class. That young girl that was in the slums that I saved, that we got medical care for, we pulled them out, we got them an apartment. She's in the top of her class. I have a young boy going to be a doctor. He's in a high school level. He was in a children's home. He had no education. He's in the top of his class. They don't take education for granted over there. Those children know this is a gift for them. They would never have been able to do this. I have 6 teenage boys. They're 14 to 16-year-olds. They grew up in a children's home and recently were kicked out because there were so many kids dropped off that there was no space for that many kids. They had to move the older ones out. Okay, so these 14 to 16-year-old boys were let go on the street. We got them into an apartment by my manager, my global operations manager, Habil, and he's taking care of them. They're getting food. We got them some bedding. We've got this apartment for them. We got them into school, and I'm coaching them one-on-one. And these kids want to be business. They want to go into business. 3 of them want to go to agriculture. One wants to be a teacher. One's an amazing artist. They're just fabulous kids. And I asked them on Zoom the first time after they got removed from this children's home, I said, how are you feeling? And of course, they were just really depressed, really frustrated because they didn't know life outside of that place, right? And I said, but I'm excited for you because this is your breakthrough moment. You can create the life you want now. You can do whatever you want. And so they're writing down a list of dreams. They're getting so excited about life right now. And it's amazing to be able to be a part of this for these kids, to let them realize that they now have choices. They have an opportunity. They have support. They can change their life. And they spend their days helping the kids at the orphanage, helping do the laundry for those kids, the children's home where they used to be. They help serve with my manager over there. They help him in his business, learning about how to do business and work with customers. And it's beautiful to see that light, that spark that comes when they realize they can have hope. They can make a change in their life. This is their chance. And that's where these boys are. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it's happened with several others in Uganda as well, where I pulled them out individually and I'm working on helping them create businesses of their dreams and realizing that if they want to travel, they can do that. They can build a life that they want, that they love.
It truly is. It truly is amazing that, sometimes those who have nothing, how much they respect everything.
Every
and it's given to them, and I mean, look, I wouldn't want to trade my lifestyle for anybody else's. I mean, I'll flat out say it. I don't want to go through all those hardships, but I mean, it is amazing that what we do overlook every once in a while. And that's the reason why it's so important for me to help you get the word out on this. We have, scrolling across the bottom of the screen, a little bit of information about benefit concerts. Can you please explain that?
Yes, in one of my networking groups, I connected with a gentleman out of Long Island, New York. He has an entertainment.
Mr. Wasserman.
You know him, yes. We are buddies now for life. We're going to be running concerts every month eventually. It's going to happen. We're so excited. We're so excited. He does benefit concerts for charity and has been for probably close to 40 years, right? And we made this connection. He loves what I'm doing. I mean, he is probably one of my biggest fans. I mean, it just makes me cry whenever he speaks because it's very touching. But what we're doing is we're connecting to schools. We were looking for venues, okay, theaters, whatever theaters we could find to host these concerts, and they're tribute concerts. So he can get any tribute performers, any bands, that perform in Vegas or wherever. I mean, he's got access to all of these people. Journey, Temptations, Barry Manilow, Barbra Streisand, Bruno Mars. I mean, he's got all of the different people. John Denver. They perform just like the originals, right?
Oh, the guy that he's got for John Denver looks so much like John Denver. It's scary. He looks like him. He sounds like him. I mean, it is scary.
He does. So we actually put it out there looking for venues. And I had a lady in our group who's in Washington State say she's a PTA treasurer. And we were talking about schools because schools have theaters. And so we connected with her. What's happening now is we are creating a partnership with the PTA there It has a 900-seat theater in the brand new high school. She's been able to secure the building through the PTA. They're going to help us sell the tickets and bring in vendors. And they're going to be making a fundraiser over $5,000 for their PTA, which is more than they've ever made. And at the same time, we'll have a full house and we'll be able to bring in revenue for our foundation. And then we've got one we're booking down in Southern California. It's a 2,300 seat. And we have the auditorium technician who's partnering with us. And also he's going to bring in the PTA, the music boosters, the theater boosters. They're going to combine and make this a big fundraising event for all of them. We'll be able to perform there. We have Journey going to Washington. We've got them flying in.
Oh, do you? Okay.
In Southern California, they're looking at either Santana, Selena Gomez, or Bruno Mars. So, and in Maryland, we're working on getting a venue. They want to have us bring in Barry Manilow, Barbara Streisand. Philadelphia wants Donna Summers. So I'm having them help me choose who they want for their area because they know what will sell and what's been around. So that's one of the beautiful things. We'll be able to go to all these places, bring awareness all over the country, serve all these different schools, and it's not costing us so much. We were looking at theaters that were going to charge us $16,000 for one day. And I'm like, we're a benefit concert. We're trying to raise money for people in need. We don't have $16,000 to pay for the day. But with the school program, this is beautiful because we can give them a kickback for their help because they're there. They can sell the tickets much easier because they're there. And they have the parents, they have the families. So it's beautiful. So anyone who has any connection to a high school or a college or a theater that would like to partner with us to make a fundraiser for you as well as for us, that's what we're trying to do. And I would love to go to every state. Right now we've got booking where we've got California and we've got Washington, but I have people working on getting venues in Maryland, Philadelphia, New York, Denver, maybe Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and Utah that we're trying to find those facilities. But I truly believe this is the way that's going to be a major source of revenue because up until now, it's mostly come from me. We've had a few donors, but it's mostly been from me. And it's way too big for me now. I can't do it by myself.
Yep.
And so it's the time to make that.
That's something that, you know what, all four of us on this call right here, no, every person's got a great heart, every person on this call, but there's not a single one of us who can do it alone. So, and Lori, this is great. I'd like to bring, going ahead and bring on in Dennis now. And Dennis, let's hear from you. Why don't you tell us about the Price of Freedom Foundation? And first off, I want to welcome you and let you know it's great to meet you. I know that we didn't have a long time to talk because I was trying to figure out my internet prior to the show, why I was saying something and then 5 minutes later, my mouth was moving. But it's great to meet you, my friend. And tell us a little bit about the Price of Freedom, please.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, Zach. Well, I think first I should tell folks that I am a retired Army officer. I served 24 years as a Medical Service Corps officer in the United States Army.
Thank you, sir.
And I came from a Navy family. My father was an enlisted man in the Navy, served during the Korean War and the Vietnam War era. I have all of my uncles served in the Navy during World War II. I have a grandfather that served in the U.S. Army in World War I. Have a son and a daughter who have served. I've got a son who served a tour of enlistment in the Air Force and a daughter who spent 8 years in the Army Reserve. So I come from a very, lived my life in and around the military. And the Price of Freedom Foundation, I named it that because everybody who serves pays a piece of that price. But those who pay the ultimate price are those that we want to recognize and to remember. And, we have Memorial Day coming up, and our nation as a whole, I think, does a pretty good job of trying to help bring that kind of awareness. However, in talking with Gold Star families, and for those that may not be familiar with the term, a Gold Star family is defined as someone who has lost someone immediate in their family. So father, mother, brother, sister, son, or daughter. And that then makes you a Gold Star family or family member. The vast majority of them actually realize a year or two after they have suffered this loss that everyone else is getting on with life, but they still have this emptiness, this hole that's there, and people are forgetting. I mean, remember one of the very first conversations I had with a Gold Star mother here in the Nashville area. Her son was lost at sea in the Gulf of Aden back in 2011, and had a bridge in Franklin, Tennessee, named after her son. But she was like, who passes by this bridge and even knows anything at all about him other than his name? You know, there you have the Pat Tillman family, you know, Pat Tillman Foundation, etc. They do a phenomenal job. Everybody knows who Pat Tillman is and knows his story. The vast majority of other families do not. So my heart was to bring those stories together, preserve them for future generations, and tell them in a truthful and honoring way to as wide of an audience as possible on an ongoing basis, so that we can help address that particular issue for Gold Star families. We got started about 4 years ago, and we are currently working with 4 families. Our first family that that came to us, we have completed the book. This is called A Silent Soul: The Machinists Make First Class Alfonso Abdel Amos Story. And Alfonso was born in the Philippines. He served some time in the Philippine Army before he joined the U.S. Navy. He joined the Navy at the behest of his father, who wanted a better life for him and his family. And he met his wife also in the Philippines several years into his U.S. Navy service. They had 3 children. 18 and a half years into his service, he was lost at sea off the deck of the USS Kitty Hawk, sailing between South Korea and Japan during a storm at sea, and also as a part of a naval exercise that was going on at that time. And we called that book A Silent Soul because as we dug into who is Alfonso, he was a silent soul. There was not a single person that we found and interviewed that could say that they ever heard him talk about anything that was bothering him inside. He was the kind of guy that liked to make people laugh, tell jokes, play music, but he would never talk about what was going on. There's the possibility that Alfonso walked himself off the deck of that ship in the middle of the night. And the reason that we think that's very possible is because 11 years prior, he had cut his wrist in a suicide attempt. We were able to obtain medical records from the Navy, and those were very sparse. They returned him to duty after only 2 months. And we don't really know why he made that effort. He never would talk to his wife about it. We were able to interview her, and she said he never once said why he made that attempt. So, you know, and the fact that you are dealing with the subject of suicide, one of the things that I wanted to do when we first got this organization started was to say that we want to tell the stories that the families want to have told. Mm-hmm. So that includes suicides. There are some restrictions that the Gold Star organization as a whole has. And the fact of the matter is that if you have a son or a daughter who, or a husband or wife who commits suicide while they're on active duty in the military, you don't get to participate in the Gold Star program. I don't think that's right. And I think that those families need to be able to be heard and to have their loved one's story told truthfully, honorably. We don't want to make heroes out of everybody, because let's face it, we're all regular people, and that's the truth about just about everybody who served. But we don't want to shy away from the topics either. So we want to be able to talk about the difficulties and the struggles that they faced. But I think that Lori, as you said, every story is unique, and every person's story absolutely is unique. And so that's what we want to be able to tell is, what was that person like? How were they as a child? We want to go all the way back to the very beginning and find out, what interested them? What did they do well at? What did they struggle with? How did they impact the people around them? What were the influences on their life that sent them in the direction that they went? Was, into the military, but what else did they have interests in? Music, art, church, whatever it may be. We want to be able to discover that and be able to tell that story. We are doing research on the other three families' stories right now. We definitely want to tell many more than that, because literally hundreds of soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines die every year while serving our nation. I mean, we just had 2 incidents close by. I live in Middle Tennessee, and in mid-February, there were 2 Tennessee National Guardsmen who were killed in a helicopter crash in northern Alabama. And just a little while ago, we had 9 active duty soldiers out of Fort Campbell that were killed when they're, well, we're assuming right now, we don't have the total information, but they were both medevac helicopters, and they were doing night training missions. And my assumption, having been in the medical field, is that they probably crashed into each other somehow. But all of those soldiers, they weren't shot at in a combat zone or situation, but they all were serving, and they all lost their lives. And these families now are dealing with that loss. And when they are ready to be able to talk in depth about this, we want to be there and ready to provide this service for them. So we produce books. We also, when we do interviews, we film, we record every interview that we do with the intent that we eventually want to create documentaries. Because while books are wonderful, I love books. I have 20 boxes of books I don't have room on my shelves for currently. But I grew up in a generation that was very bibliocentric. We do not live in a society that is bibliocentric anymore. We are in a videocentric society and world. And so we want to be able to tell these stories through video so that people will actually hear these stories. So we're not at a point where we can afford to do that production and editing now, but we want to create all of the raw content that is necessary so that when we do have that kind of support, that we can absolutely do that. That's really kind of how I got started with this. I mean, the real emphasis was that I had this idea. I had grown up in the 60s and 70s, saw the terrible way that veterans were treated when they were returned, saw all the negative press, saw the change in our society in the 80s and 90s with much more positive towards those who served, saw some really wonderful articles in Esquire magazine and GQ in the years after 9/11. And my thought was, this is great. I'm glad to see that we're getting positive stories. being told about those who gave it all. But what about everybody else? Because in every one of those stories, that wasn't just that one soldier or that one Marine who died during that, but that was only one that they were focusing that story on. And so I just was frustrated with that. And I had been working a different job, working for a college of nursing, and was talking with a colleague, several colleagues, but one that came, that was the real motivation, was retired Marine Corps female drill sergeant. Okay, so she said, love this, because I was like, who, this can't be an original idea. Why is nobody else doing this? Why can't I go online and find some other organization that I can just help, right? She said, I don't know of anybody else doing it either, Dennis. Get off your butt and make it happen. So I was traveling a lot, 90% of the time on that job. And I was using the excuse, well, I've never written a book. I've never produced a video. I don't know anything about running a nonprofit organization. I just have this burning desire to help tell these stories. And about 2 or 3 months after I'd had that conversation with my friend, my job went away. And so for me, that was a sign from God saying, okay, stop using the excuse of time. And so that's what I've been doing ever since, is to pursue this idea, to communicate it, to get connected to people that have a similar heart. And we have progressed to this point. Is it gone as fast as I wanted? No, we're close. But we have produced what I think is a quality product for this family. The book will be published and released on the 24th of April, called The Silent Soul. And we will be doing a presentation of the book in hardcover format to the family. We're currently looking to hold this around Veterans Day. This is at the request of the family. I was thinking around Memorial Day, but they asked for Veterans Day. Most of them live in the San Diego area, so we're looking to do this on the USS Midway, which was a ship that Alfonso was assigned to twice during his career. So we have that coming up, but we really want to be able to help more families. And one of the things that made this possible was the fact that I had volunteers that could help me with this. The most important volunteer was our author, our writer. Keith Hayden is a Air Force veteran, Air Force Academy graduate, actually. He spent some time while he was in his active duty service, he was a criminal investigator for the Air Force. After he left active duty, he married another Air Force officer, so he's now an Air Force dependent living in Okinawa, Japan, at the Air Force base there. But he's written 2 other books prior to this, one a work of fiction and one a nonfiction book on language learning skills. And he had this heart for wanting to do something like this, and he did a fabulous job. But it took him 5 full months of his life to put this together after we had done all the interviews and collected the military records and the photos and the videos, et cetera, and kind of dumped it on him and said, go to it. I can't ask him to do that on a full-time basis because, who can afford to do that? Now we are going to be giving him a royalty on book sales that we make, so that he will eventually get some return for what he's done for us. But we need more writers, we need more authors, we need more researchers, because one of the skill sets that Keith brought to us that I wasn't even thinking about and wasn't aware of when we got started is that in addition to interviewing the people that knew Alfonso, we needed to get other details. So what Keith was able to do was to take the ships that he was on, the times that he was on those ships, the military bases, the Navy bases in his case that he was at, took a look at where he lived and was raised when he was growing up. And he went and did background research on what was happening, what happened, during that time that he was there, and was able to fill in the story a lot better than what I had collected. And so it became very clear to me that we need researchers who can do that and who can get those kind of details. So, of course, everybody could use donations, but I could really, really, really use a couple of excellent volunteers that would be interested and would love doing research or love doing writing, and that would really help. And of course, we have some volunteers that are video editors. They are very frustrated with me, though. We have over 44 hours worth of video from our first story alone. And what they really need is, and what I need, is a director, somebody who's a filmmaker, somebody who knows and can go and take this massive collection of film content and be able to narrow it down and say, okay, take this from here and that from there and that from there. I can't do that. That's not my skill. That's not my forte. And that's what my video editor volunteers really need. And unfortunately, I can't give that to them at this point. But that's what we're about. I mean, our second story that we're working on is of a soldier who was killed in a helicopter accident in Vietnam in 1970. Our next one was a explosive ordnance disposal airman who was killed in a roadside bomb in Afghanistan. The next story is a Navy sailor, another lost at sea incident, and more recently. So every one of these stories is going to be powerful when we actually compile them. I also believe, and because I saw it happen with this first family that we're working with, that it's been a voyage of discovery for every person that we've been interviewing and talking to. The fact that Alfonso served time in the Philippine Army before he joined the U.S. Navy was news to his children, who were in their late 20s to mid 30s. The older adults knew that, but they didn't think it was important. It was just one of those things they never thought to talk about. The man who was Alfonso's best friend in the Navy was the last person to have seen him before he disappeared. They had what are called watches, and so his friend was coming off watch, Alfonso was going on to watch, and they passed and said hello, etc. Well, when somebody disappears and you have a criminal investigator coming along, who are they going to put the most
scrutiny
shrews to? And that's going to be the person who saw him last. And by the way, it was their best friend during their time in the Navy. Well, they had about a 3 or 4 month period of investigation. He was finally cleared of anything, but he had never seen the actual report. So we were able to do a Freedom of Information Act request. We got a copy of that report, certainly for telling the story, but also we gave a copy of that to him so that he could actually see what was said there and be able to find out more things that he didn't know. So we also are offering to living veterans the opportunity to pay tribute to their fallen comrades. So we definitely, to be able to produce a book or produce a video, a documentary, we definitely are going to need more than just one veteran. We're going to need the help or the permission of the family, but we don't need the permissions of the families to say, hey, if you're a veteran and you want to pay a tribute to a fallen comrade, you can do that. So we are offering that, and we've had a couple of veterans do that. And one locally was it had therapeutic benefits beyond what we ever imagined for him. This was a Navy aviation mechanic who spent 9 months in Vietnam in Da Nang, air base there, while he was there, is a very safe place. Very few attacks ever happened there. He went back to what he was sent back to the States because of a shoulder injury. A couple of months later, the Tet Offensive happened. Da Nang was overrun. A third of the guys that he served with were killed. Another third were injured. He went to a bunch of funerals, and that was really what prompted our conversations to talk about that. But he also mentioned that in his time there in Vietnam, he saw 30 seconds of combat. So I asked him to talk about that. Tell me about that. And what he said, they had these search and rescue missions that were on call. They had a helicopter that was always running. And when the alarm would go off, they'd get a crew, whoever got to the bird the first, they were the ones that would go. He went on 3 of those missions. 2 of them were non-events. They went, they found the downed plane, found the downed pilots, were able to go in, pick them up. There's no enemy activity anywhere in the area. They came home. The last one, the exact opposite, extremely hot LZ. They wound up having 5 gunships in the area to suppress the enemy that were coming in and also trying to find these pilots. He got off the bird, went to and found the co-pilot who had a broken leg. He was carrying him basically over one shoulder, about halfway back to the bird there out of the elephant grass, maybe 30 yards away. Popped what he said were 3 kids. Now, they were all in NVA uniforms. They all had weapons. They were all bringing them to bear. But he said they were kids to him. And he shot and killed all 3, got on the bird, went back. And that was how he explained it. Pretty much, like that. The next day after we had finished our interview, he came up to me and gave me this great big bear hug. And he said, "Dennis, I don't know why it took me so long to agree to do this." He said, "But last night was the first night in over 50 years that I did not have nightmares seeing those 3 faces." So that was phenomenal. I can't promise that anything close to that will happen when other veterans talk about their service and talk about their comrades who didn't make it back home. But I believe that there is a benefit to them all in doing so. And so that's open to any veteran who wants to have that conversation with us. We'd love to do that.
Well, Dennis, that's kind of one of the things that, like I was saying earlier before I brought you guys on, is that not answering those questions, not letting them talk about it, is doing a disservice. We don't know if it's going to help them unless they tell us.
Right.
And so, I think it's a great. It's beautiful. I love what you're doing. And just to throw a couple things at you, my grandfather. One of my grandfathers was a ground medic in World War II, and I have 2 uncles that served on the Kitty Hawk. Okay. So, we've got, so that's kind of neat that we've got a little bit of similarity.
Connection there. That's right.
So, Stephanie, you also had a very, very good question.
Yeah, no, that is amazing. And I've learned some things tonight, Dennis, since our last conversation.
Yes.
But how can people purchase the book?
It will be released on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and basically all the major retailers. And we are using the services of a publishing company out of South Carolina, Palmetto Publishing, that solved a problem for us. And it's like, I don't know if you want me to get into the details of book publishing, but it's like, it took me months to try and get around this. We assumed that we could do print on demand and that we would be able to get a book that looks like the ones you see that are, as I call offset printing now, where you have text on one type of paper and you have like glossy paper in the middle with the captioned photos. Print on demand can't do that. Now, we promised the families that we were going to provide the the ones with the glossy paper in the middle. So we were at a conundrum. Okay, do we go with print on demand for everybody and kind of take a one step down in quality that we give to the families? Or do we go with offset printing and all of the huge costs associated with that, and trying to figure out, what's the demand going to be, and make not overproducing or underproducing? And what these folks came back with was what I think is a phenomenal solution. I don't know. They said, buy the smallest number of offset printing books that we can produce for you, and use those as what you give to the families. And everything else that's good will be done print on demand. So yes, if you buy it through Amazon, Barnes and Noble, etc., it will be print on demand, and it won't be that we won't have the photos in there. It's just going to be on the same stock of paper as the print is going to be. So, it's like, okay, I thought that was an excellent solution, and that the people who are interested in the book will buy it and recognize that they're really still getting a quality book. It's just the only real difference is that section of the photos is not going to be on glossy paper. It's going to be on the regular stock of paper that they produce it on.
No, that's perfect. Will there be a link on your website then, Dennis?
There will be. There absolutely will be. So I'm still working with them on some technical details. Bowker, the organization that has the monopoly, by the way, on ISBNs, and it's like I'm not fond of any organization having monopolies. But anyway, there's a lot of technical stuff we have to put into their system, and that's the last bit is in there now, and hopefully that'll be looked at, approved by them, and then the publisher can take and run with that, or give me instructions on what I need to do here in the next couple of weeks. But April 24th is our launch date.
Well, I would like to talk to you, Dennis, and find out if there's anything that we can help. I would like to offer my channels to you if
Great.
You would like to broadcast them this presentation live, and so people could see what you're doing. I would be more than willing to make that happen. I would love to see that happen, and I think that would just be something great for other people to witness, because I think what you're doing is remarkable. Lori, both of you guys, I mean, the stories, every story is just, you lose your breath sometimes about, there's some simplicity to everything, but there's so much complexity to everything, and it's really kind of one of those things, Dennis. I one of the things that really struck me with what you were talking about, John Wayne Vogel's Martyred Angels, and Bart with veterans honoring veterans. They were two of the other people who they said the exact same thing you said. Well, there's got to be somebody out here doing this. What do you mean nobody's out here doing this? This is, how can nobody be doing this? And that, Lori, I'm pretty sure that you felt the same way, that it's like, how can there not be anybody out there doing this already? Which I'll just say, thank God, because this gives us a chance to, sit there and show our love for what we care about. And I think that, I mean, both of your guys' stories are fantastic. I mean, I'm just, I'm very, very honored that we get to share your stories with everyone on this. And Stephanie, why don't you please go on ahead and share with us what this wonderful, wonderful flyer is, please.
Yeah, sure. If you are not a part of our page on Facebook, definitely join us at the Community Pay It Forward One Hope fundraising page, because we update that regularly and we highlight these incredible organizations there. But that first QR code is to the Lori Landin Foundation. So if you take your cell phone out, open up your camera, and hold it up to that QR code, it will take you directly to the fundraising link to support the Lori Landin Foundation. And same with the Price of Freedom Foundation, right on the bottom there, second QR code just below. And if you prefer to just type the link into your browser, that's there as well. But I do have to say, man, both Dennis and Lori, they have such hard work that they do, but so rewarding. As I listen to both of them tonight, like my emotions are just like this. I don't know if it's because I'm really pregnant. Okay, I'm going to make a little joke here, but I'm like, wow, like just listening to them go through all of this, I'm like, such hard work, but so rewarding. And I feel like, you know, in one aspect we're saving lives, and in the other aspect we're celebrating lives. So there's like such a connection here, and in totally different ways. So thank you both for being here.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You know, Stephanie, if it's because you're a little pregnant or way pregnant, it's probably that I'm wayer pregnant. You know, I've been pregnant ever since I quit smoking 17 years ago. You know, I doubled in girth. So, you know, I would have to say that I'm probably wayer pregnant than you are. But, and you're right. These stories are extremely emotional. And I love the way that you put that too. You know, that this is a celebration of, you know, I mean, really it is. This is a celebration of, and Dennis, tell me this. There are times, have you yet, and I know that you're still fairly in the beginning of this, are there times when you've walked up to somebody and asked them if they're ready to tell the story and they say, no, not yet, but
yes,
we're getting to it? Because I know that was one of the things on February 22nd. We talked to a lady who she discovered her best friend just a few hours after she had taken her life. And she said, you know what, 3-4 weeks ago, I could have never talked about this story. Today, it did good for me.
Right.
Though,
Absolutely. And I know I had the benefit when I was first getting started with this, that I made connections with the Army Survivor Outreach Services program at Fort Campbell. And I was invited by the chief of that program to join one of their national calls. They do this pretty regularly, but she invited me to be on a teleconference because they had like 70 people on there or something like that from all over the world. That conference call that I was on had as its featured guest speaker a physician from USUHS, the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences in Bethesda, Maryland, who was part of what is still an ongoing military survivor grief study, started basically going back to 9/11. And they've produced a significant number of professional articles in various different medical journals and the like. But what he was really there to talk about was some commonalities. And when I mentioned that the majority of Gold Star families actually realize that this fear that they have comes true, came from that. You know, he was from their studies that, but also from that too, he was talking about the fact that he wasn't talking directly to me, but in a way he was, because he was talking about the fact that there are a lot of things that these families go through. And one of the things that happens is that there, in many cases, is a feeling of guilt, especially in parents that had encouraged their children to join the military, and now their child is dead. And so until they can resolve that sense of guilt and shame over this, that person's not going to be ready to be able to tell their son or their daughter's story in a way that we would need them to be able to then communicate that in writing or in video. There are some people that just have anger towards the military, and they will probably never ever talk to us because they would associate us with the military. And so, and we recognize that not everybody's going to be in a place where they are able or willing to tell their story. But we intend to be around. I intend to make this what I dedicate the rest of my life to. And I hope that we can grow to the point that we can have somebody else to take the reins and take it further whenever the time comes that I pass from this world. But we want to be able to be here for whenever that family or that person, or maybe that daughter or son or granddaughter or grandson says, I really want to know about this relative of mine, and let's get started to do this. I had one connection that I made here at a networking event in Nashville, and her father served in the Navy in World War II, and in Korea, his brother. Well, actually, no, he didn't serve in the Navy in World War II. He served in Korea. He was a little too young. His brother had served in the Navy in World War II, and she wanted him to be able to help tell her uncle's story. And I sat down with him, and he just wasn't ready to do it. He didn't think it was important. And what the little bit of time that I sat with him and found out that his brother had been on one of the ships in Pearl Harbor. He had survived that. He had been a gunnery officer. He was on other ships and did other battles at sea. And his concern always was for his sailors, the men that he commanded. And the way that he lost his life was he was in Anchorage, Alaska, and he was about to fly back to Seattle to get married. This was still during the war. And there were 3 aircraft that took off, and his aircraft didn't make it. They don't know where, back then, all the ways of tracking things just didn't exist. And so his brother and others, the 16 or 17 others that were on that flight, were never found. And I felt that this was a phenomenal story. And he was the only living relative that knew him, the only living person that we knew that probably knew his brother. And at some point, when you no longer have a living person to interview, now we're just historians. Yeah. We're doing the research, and we're trying to dig up correspondence and other stuff like that. But you lose a flavor, and the flavor that I got in that 15-minute conversation I had with him was fabulous, but he just couldn't see it. So, it's like, okay, well, if you don't want to do it, then I can't force you. But I really wish you would.
Yeah. Just a really quick point, and then I think we're going to hand this off to Stephanie to do her part. But it brings back memories of when Theodore Roosevelt lost his youngest son in World War I. He ended up living the rest of his life feeling a little bit of guilt, but always a little bit of pride. So it was hard for him to talk about it, not near as hard as it was for his wife to talk about it, but because he had always driven that into his sons, because the one thing that Theodore Roosevelt always held against his father is that his father did not fight in the Civil War. His father paid somebody else to do that. So, he losing one of his sons, it took him a while to be able to talk about it, but he felt enormous pride and enormous appreciation for his son. And then, like you said, it's just, we can't not tell these stories, because these stories can lead to so much education and so much importance. Lori, your stories, what you're doing for these kids, they're building history. You're building futures, you're building hope. So again, Stephanie, I'm going to credit you for all credit in the world for the way that you said it, that we're celebrating life and we're creating hope and I think this is so beautiful, and this is seriously one of the most, I think this is one of the most impactful shows we've had, just because you've got the two different sides here. And I want to thank both of you, Dennis and Lori, for joining us. And I would like to give you all just a real quick second here. Lori, can you please tell us your information? How can people find out more about you, other than let me do this here real quick. Other than going to this QR code right here, because they can find a lot of information about you by using this QR code, because you are a community pay it forward mission partner. And this QR code, you shop with any of our partners, you will be supporting the Lori Landin Foundation. So, but how do people get a hold of you?
I am on Facebook. I am on Instagram. I am on LinkedIn. On Facebook, you can actually go to the Lori Landin Foundation page and find me. We also have a website, www.thelorilandinfoundation.org. You can connect with me by cell phone. You can connect with me by email. I would love to connect and reach out and share and answer questions. You know, if someone's interested and wants to know more about it, please reach out and connect with me. I would be happy to hop on Zoom or phone and talk with you and really bring you into what we're doing. Just so grateful to be able to share this out. And it's truly a beautiful mission, a beautiful cause. And awareness is my mission this year, bringing awareness and letting people know, and hopefully bringing people to join me in this opportunity of service globally. It's incredible. And I would love to share that with other people, not hold it all to myself. So
well,
beautiful.
You know what, we are, I want to thank you so much for giving us a chance to be a small part of what you do. I am looking forward to a long relationship with you guys, and helping to build more futures. You know, the concept of helping kids build something better is, to me, one of the best things in the world. I have always told people, and Stephanie, you've heard me say this more than once, I love my kids. Yours, not so much, but I think every kid deserves a chance, because, you know, if we don't give kids a chance, we can never see what they can do. And if we write kids off, we're doing a terrible disservice to them. Because if we're writing kids off without giving them a chance, they don't have a chance. So,
and these kids become our kids.
Yeah,
and we're serving adults as well. I don't want you to feel like we're limited to just children. We're serving anyone in need. Anyone.
Now, who needs adults?
Children in need.
No, I'm joking. We actually really need adults, you know,
we need
both wine right now. So, but Lori, we encourage you to stick around and listen to the wonderful Stephanie talk here in just a moment. But Dennis, let's go with you. Give us some of your information, if you would, please.
Sure. Well, we have our website at www.priceoffreedomfoundation.org. We are also on have a presence on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. There you would do a search for the Price of Freedom Foundation. And we're there. And then on LinkedIn, you can find myself, Dennis Schroeder Sr., and Schroeder is spelled oddly, SCHROADER. And most have the OE in the middle, but OA. And I have a son, Dennis Jr., and a grandson, Dennis III. So
wow.
That's why I always put the senior there, and they're all adults now. So it's like I'm really old.
You know, that's what I always tell Dennis. What I've been telling people lately is, you know, what makes me feel the oldest. You know, sometimes when you go and they've got like that wheel for anything that you got to find your birth year. When, you know, it used to be like, okay, you spin this wheel and it gets to your birth date right away. Now you take and you spin that wheel you can walk to the bathroom and come back and that thing's still spinning, and you're like going, oh my God, really?
Yes.
But yeah, Dennis, Lori, again, wonderful stories. Thank you so very much for joining with us. But we do need to give some time to the goddess of the grape. Stephanie, it's all you, sweetie.
So that's what I have to look forward to, Zach, huh? Spinning that wheel.
Yeah. You're still the kid, and so.
Oh my goodness. You both are welcome to stay, but if you do have other things you have to get to, please, we can definitely catch up on our mid-month. But I'll jump right in here because I do have some things to share, Zach.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're new to OneHope and you're saying, this is my first time watching the show, which I hope it's not. I hope you're following us. Yes, perfect. So Zach normally shares my link tree during this show, but I provided a QR code today. So that QR code right there will take you to my link tree, where you will be able to find both fundraising links for the show tonight, as well as our community Pay It Forward OneHope fundraiser through Facebook, through our Facebook group, where we communicate there pretty often on what's going on. We share some seasonal recipes, some fun wine pairings, there are any sales going on, so definitely join us on that page. And if you have any recipes to share, please share them there too. It's a collaborative effort there. So that Linktree link, that QR code right there on the right will take you right there. And you'll see some previous nonprofits on there as well that we've had on the show previously. So
yeah, we definitely encourage you to go back and watch some of the other shows that we've done, just to make sure that you understand some of the other programs that we've helped, and we want to continue to help those programs along with these two new friends. We want to make sure that none of these programs fall by the wayside, because every single one of them that we've put our time into, there's a reason why we do this. And it's because every single one of these has, they're out there, Stephanie, and they're doing these wonderful things. And the stories, every single story, there's something eerily similar to it, because every single one of them puts everything they've got into the love. And it's just, I can't help but get a little verklempt, if you will.
What I love is that we highlight these organizations every month, right? But you can support them at any time. So go back and check that out. Whether it's through OneHope or not, but you can set your account through OneHope and go back and support these organizations with a future purchase, even if we're not highlighting them for the month, So it's a great way to just, dive into what they're doing and the incredible work. And truly, as you heard tonight, every single dollar of a donation goes such a long way for these nonprofits. So consider that as well.
Yeah, that's a very interesting fact there, Lori. You live right by Napa, huh?
I do.
You'll love to hear some of this stories. Maybe you can travel over and see the OneHope wineries then.
I actually taught in Napa for a few years. So yeah. It's right.
Oh, wow.
It's about 20 minutes away from me.
Wow.
Very cool. Well, I'll dive right in here because the winery is right in the heart of Rutherford. So you're probably really familiar. So if you're new to OneHope and you're watching the show, we are a cause-centric winery out of Napa Valley. What does that actually mean? Every single bottle of wine that we sell gives back to make an impact. So how we do that first is through the OneHope Foundation, where our main pillars of giving are for clean water, ending hunger, health, and education initiatives. But in addition, what I love is that we can work with these smaller nonprofits to give back to them as well. So I like to think of it as like you're pouring a glass, but you're really giving back twice with that bottle of wine.
Yep.
And that's really, really the mission here. So to date, we've donated over $9 million to over 37,000 different nonprofit organizations. And Lori, you'd probably love to hear this, but we have drilled wells in areas of the world where they had no access to water. And it sounds like you've seen that firsthand.
Yeah.
Through Charity Water, which you might be familiar with. So we have some of the most incredible winemakers in the industry. If you are a wine drinker, you might be familiar with some of these names: Robert Mondavi Jr., Mari Wells Coyle, Tony Coltrane, some of the biggest names in the industry. And the wine's award winning. And we are actually certified organic now, which is kind of a newer, not very new, but newer announcement. We were waiting on that certificate for a while. And we are a private wine label. So what that means is our winemakers do make our wine. And it's as simple as that. It gets delivered to your door and you're supporting your favorite nonprofit at the same time. So what I did want to talk about tonight.
This is the first time that we've talked about you guys being organic, though.
Is it the first time I've said that? Well, you never know what's going to come out of my mouth, Zach. I don't know. It might be the baby talking. I'm not sure. No, but yeah, we are certified organic. It's something we've always had organic practices with our grapes. You know, there's no pesticides sprayed, things like that. Everything's, you know, done by hand, which obviously is more labor intensive. But even where our winemaker sources the grapes from, she makes sure that they have the same practices with the grape growing that we do at our Estate 8 in Napa. So yeah, we finally have the certification to show for it also, but we've always been, but you know, legal processes and paperwork involved. So it took a few years to get that. So yeah, perfect. Well, Mother's Day is approaching. So I thought that it would be really fun. And I'm going to get to that sparkly bottle in just a minute. But let's be honest, you can't drink flowers. Just gonna...
Yeah. Some of your wines have flowery notes, though.
That is true. Fruity and flowery notes. Yeah, good point there, Zach. Good point. But if you're looking to treat mom with a gift that keeps on giving, definitely check out the QR codes that we had shared before to support one of these amazing organizations that we are highlighting this month. And remember that you can add a gift set of your choice to any wine order, whether it's one bottle, a whole case. And some of the gift sets, I'll highlight really fast. I know we've talked about them before. There are several that you can choose from and add with any variety of wine. You're popping up old stuff, though. Hold on. But yes, as you can see, you can select any one bottle. Go ahead.
Which one are you looking for, sweetie?
No, it's okay. I'm just you can go back to the Happy Mother's Day because I'm going to talk.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But
that's a gorgeous bottle.
Yeah. So let's say you wanted to do the Happy Mother's Day bubbly, right? You can add a gift set that mom would love. We have a celebration gift set that includes a champagne stopper, sweet and salty popcorn, and 2 stemless champagne flutes. So that's a really fun, nice, elegant gift. We also have an artisan gift box, which has jalapeno Monterey Jack cheese, a mini serving spoon, olive tapenade, rustic artisan chips, and salami in that box. And then we have some fun ones that are, you know, like the pet lovers box that has a bandana for your pup, a collapsible dog bowl, and a dog toy, and more. You know, we've got a Kendra Scott gift set. There's all kinds of gift sets that you can mix and match depending on who you're gifting and what they enjoy. So one of my favorite celebration wines, though, and perfect for the upcoming holiday, is the California Etched Shimmer Sparkling Brut that says Happy Mother's Day. So with this wine, this sparkling wine is light in color and it displays aromas of fresh green apple and nectarine with a hint of fresh baked bread. It is crisp and intriguing with fresh fruit, reminiscent of succulent peach, sweet berries, and pear that linger on your palate, which finishes with a creamy and with refreshing bubbles. This brut also can be paired with some appetizers, seafood, sushi. Gosh, I miss sushi. And a wide range of desserts and cheeses. So it's really delicious. I love that they brought this bottle back for the holiday. We don't have it year round. So it's a special one.
So is this also a really good bottle for, oh, I don't know, let's say experienced upcoming mothers?
It could be.
Ah,
It could be.
okay.
Yeah. I'll be honest, Zach, I have a bottle waiting once I deliver this baby.
I'll bet you got a couple bottles.
It's going to be my present. No, but yeah, absolutely. It's a sparkling wine. It's delicious. And bubbly's fun for any occasion, whether it's brunch, it's a holiday, any kind of celebration, really.
No, that's I do. I think that bottle is so beautiful. I really do. I think I love the silver. I love the white on the silver with the kind of the platinum writing on it. I think it's a really pretty bottle. So
What I love is that you can gift with the standard, bubblies on the website that have standard sayings for different occasions, but we can also customize them for a special occasion. And they come in silver, gold, and pink as well. And the pink is actually a sparkling rosé.
that is so nice. So
Totally going to jump over to that purchase with purchase promotion, though. If you can scroll over just one for me. Yes. Yes. Perfect. Thank you, Zach. I know I'm giving you a job tonight. I'm sorry. So I wanted to just highlight this quickly because we spoke about our new margarita wines last month, and they're actually our April purchase with purchase promotion this month. So I thought, talk about the special. So this month's purchase with purchase includes our Vintner Collection Sparkling Brut, our Lime Margarita Wine Cocktail, and our Strawberry Margarita Wine Cocktail. It's a perfect trio, so you can create the perfect beverage, whether you want to have the margarita as a still with no bubbles or a spritz by adding some sparkling brut for the season. So how does the purchase with purchase work? You save 50% on these wines when you build a box of any 6 bottles or more. So 6 bottles is the half case. And then that promotion will pop up on your screen and you'll be able to add it to your cart. So I personally love the purchase with purchase discounts because it's a great deal on the wine, and you're also making a bigger impact for your nonprofit of choice. So really fun. If you haven't tried the margaritas yet, you need to. I told you, I tried this much. They're sweet, but they're perfect for the nice weather that's coming. We are in spring now, Zach. Don't make fun of me anymore.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? This is the funny thing is that earlier in the week we had a day that was close to 70. It snowed yesterday. And Saturday, and Saturday it's supposed to be 73. Welcome to Colorado. So,
I'm in the mountains in the Poconos, and I will tell you we've had a couple of nicer days. So I'm holding in. I think we might be past the S word, maybe at this point. But I said that a few weeks ago. My husband took stuff out of the back of his truck that he normally keeps in there as weight for the winter. And then it snowed the day after. So I'm not speaking too soon here.
So, and then Stephanie, those margaritas come in both traditional lime and strawberry, correct?
Yeah, lime and strawberry. You can do one. You can mix it if you'd like. Totally up to you.
So that sounds great.
Yeah, and the QR codes are right there. One thing that was just announced, and I don't have a sample to show you, is that the mini sparkling brutes, which I'm holding up, it's our little mini bottles here. They can now be customized with labels for any occasion. So this is really exciting because it can suit so many different, here, I'll hold it up again so you can see. So these labels we can now customize. Just announced like 2 days ago. So I don't have a sample with a custom label. They're really fun. It can suit so many occasions like weddings, baby showers, thank yous, birthdays, so many different things. So if you have any interest in those or have an idea, reach out to me. I'd love to help. I personally love the minis because I keep them on hand for quick thank yous, even just in our daily life. So I'll share really quick a true story. So being pregnant, I've been having some cravings for different foods. I gifted the minis to my delivery driver last week for the great service of the food delivery and her great communication. She was thrilled. She was so excited. Of course she got a tip for the delivery, but the wine was like cherry on the cake. Oh my gosh. So I'm sure she's always going to be choosing to come over this way if we order food. But they're a fun way to share and give back. Labels are not. So I figured I'd mention that too.
You had to go and cherry on a cake, that's just like beating up a fat man. That's just not nice. Thanks, Stephanie. Once again, this is Stephanie's QR code to her find out everything Stephanie. This is her link tree. So, but please make sure that you go and find out more. And if you have any questions, Stephanie, you really want to talk to people, you really want to share what you do.
Absolutely. Yeah. All of my contacts are there right on that link tree, to connect with me on different socials or via email. And I do have right at the top, as soon as you log in, the Price of Freedom Foundation, their link is right there. And the Lori Landin Foundation is right there at the top as well. So quick way to just be able to get to all of the fundraising links right there through one QR code.
Yeah. And one last thing before I let everybody go, but Stephanie, you haven't raised $9 million yourself yet, have you?
I have not. I will say
You've come close.
I will say that it is pretty incredible, and I did these numbers just recently, but over the last 2 years, my small team and I raised over $108,000 for just our nonprofits of choice, not including what the ONEHOPE Foundation does. And truly, it's just by sharing wine. And I feel like most people drink wine anyway. You go into the liquor store here, you come out, the Girl Scouts are set up with their cookies, right? Are you going to say no to the cookies? No, you're going to support those cute girls. Well, kind of the same thing is built in, the give back is built in right with each bottle of wine. So there are different ways that you can contribute, whether it's just purchasing wine for your home to stock up special occasions, hosting an event for your favorite organization. If you'd love to share and give back to these two incredible organizations and share what they're doing with your network and your friends, be happy to talk to you about that, and being a brand ambassador like myself, where I say we have this incredible platform to be able to do this year round, to be able to send out donations every single month.
Well, I'd like to say welcome to Daniel, who was they were our mission from last month. So with Rescue Residents, and wonderful program. If you guys don't know what they do, they turned old retired ambulances into tiny homes for veterans who are homeless. So it's a wonderful program. And we look forward to working more with Daniel and keeping the word going on them. Lori, my dear, thank you so very much for joining us. Wonderful story. And Dennis, thank you, sir. Both of your stories are just astonishing. They fill me full of hope, and I wish you guys the best of luck, not just on this campaign, but anything that we can do here at Community Pay It Forward, anything that we can do with this campaign, we are more than willing to sit here and do everything that we can do. I look forward to talking to you both here in 2 weeks as we revisit this and tell people who didn't get to sit through the stories. We're gonna do it again and make sure that we can spread the word as much as possible. But thank you both very much.
Absolutely, it was an honor. Thank you so much.
Really appreciate you.
Stephanie, as always, this one ran a little bit long, but hey, with all that information,
I wasn't going to cut them off. What they had to say was much more important than what I had to say.
Yep, absolutely. This was, as always, Stephanie, my dear, just appreciate everything that you're going through, and you're still sticking with us, and you're still keeping this going. Once again, I would like to remind everybody, starting on May 1st, Stephanie she's upping what she's doing for Community Pay It Forward. Like, she's not doing enough, but she is part of Mayday. We have a problem, talking about the suicide pandemic in America. We're going to be discussing this with wonderful programs who are trying to do anything and everything to lessen somebody's feeling that they have to commit suicide in their own life. It's a term that I coined. I'm going to try this, but I came up with this when on the 22nd, and it's, no matter how softly you walk, you're going to leave a footprint. And that means that, no matter who you are, no matter how alone you think you are, there's going to be people who are going to feel it. So please reconsider. So Stephanie, again, thank you so much for accepting the invitation to come along on this very, very important mission. But Lori, Dennis, and Stephanie, thank you guys very much. I hope you all enjoyed your night. So
I did. I'm looking forward to the next one, and I definitely look forward to talking about my own experiences of an almost suicide attempt when I was 17, and my dealing with suicidal ideation all the way through my military career, and hopefully what kept me from taking action can help somebody else.
That's I'm now on chills waiting to hear this story. So we are we're just looking to do whatever we can do, because silence is the worst killer when it comes to this. If we don't speak up, who will? So let's make sure that we keep the conversation going. Let's build a conversation that everyone can have. So thank you all very much. And thank you. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Thank you so much.
God bless. Good night.
Good night.
I do want to go on ahead and bring up the fact once again that, first off, I just want to thank everybody who has taken and watched even a portion of this show. There is so much, there are so many programs that are out there that that if we don't spread the word about them, people may not get to know about them. Okay, let's be honest. This is a large country, okay? It's hard to know about everything that's going on out there without helping people spread the words. You know, it's hard to know all the programs that are out there. And this is why we do what we do. There's nothing worse than telling a nonprofit, someone who started, someone like Lori, or telling somebody like Dennis, geez, I wish I would have known about you before ... happened. That's devastating. Look, that's devastating in small to medium business, let alone nonprofits. We sit here on limited budgets most of the time. We sit here and under our own time, and we try to do everything that we can. I'm going to tell you, and this is my own story here, but I beat myself on the head all the time going, what else can I do to make people know that we're out here? Okay. And I'm going to tell you what that answer is. We can keep working with great people like Lori and Dennis. Keep working with great people like Z and Stephanie, Richard and Trevor, and all these other people that we're working with, because all of my wonderful partners, Bill and all of these people who all they're asking you to do is shop with them, and they're going to donate to wonderful causes like the Lori Landin Foundation. That's all you got to do is shop. It's seriously shop, click and pick. You shop, do the shopping that you've already got to do anyway. You click a picture of the receipt or invoice, and you pick the cause that you wish. All you got to do is find the QR code that looks very, very similar to that one. Scan it. You fill out the paperwork. You can even take and dedicate your donation in the name of someone. If you wish to do that, there is a place to do that. If you know somebody who would like to be involved in this, please introduce us, because our goal, the ultimate goal in all of this, is to someday, no matter what you have to do in a day, when you go shopping, you can donate to wonderful causes like these. We also get the wonderful opportunity to tell these stories, because like I've said repeatedly, and I truly do mean this, the one thing that I love about what I do more than anything is telling these stories of all of my partners, the verified giving partners, the sponsorship partners, the mission partners, telling their stories on their why. Why did I start this? There's always a reason why. Whether it's, well, I was working with something similar to this, and I knew that there could be a better way to do it. I had a wild thought, and I decided, you know what, I can do better than this. Or whether it's, I had something happen to me, like Dennis said earlier. I went to go look around, and I couldn't find anybody who offered what I needed. These are people like you who have come upon bridges, and they've looked around and they've said, let's try this. And they did something, and they built a bridge over that problem. And now they're willing to share that bridge with you, so you can approach another problem, build another bridge, and help somebody else across that bridge. Every single one of us at some point in time is going to need help. That's not a crime. There's nothing in the world wrong with needing help. Just make sure that you don't wait too long to ask for help. Because if you wait too long, I mean, just remember this, you know, there's nothing wrong with asking for help, but the longer you wait, the more help you're going to need, and the harder it is to dig yourself out of that hole. As a guy who was injured when I needed help, that also causes a lot of emotional damage, and there's an emotional aspect to it that just adds to everything else. And that's just flat out not good for you in any way. Okay, so let's make sure that we don't bury ourselves in a point of, oh my God, we're sunk, we're way past help. You know, one other thing that I want everybody to really think about is that we've been around long enough as a human species that there's not a lot of things that somebody has not ever went through. Okay? Your situation's always going to be unique to you. And I'm not downplaying that one iota. There's always going to be a situation in your problem that is unique and important to you. And you may not feel like many people have been through it, but just know there are people who have had something similar happen. And if we don't ask for help, they can't tell you their story, which could help you cross over. I do want to remind you that once again, coming up on May Day, we have a brand new program coming out called Mayday, We Have a Problem. Really looking forward to premiering this on May 1st, and I really hope that you join us. Folks, my 2 hours is up for the day. I want to thank you very much. Once again, I want to thank Lori Landin. I want to thank Stephanie, expecting mother, already a mother of 4, so she's got her hands full, and she's out here every month trying to help us, help others. And of course, Mr. Dennis Schroeder, I want to thank you very much for joining us as well. Please remember to love somebody out there, because somebody out here loves you. I also ask you to remember, if you're not helping someone, you're hurting everyone, because no one needs to go it alone when we all come together. Folks, if you've got an extra hoodie, please throw it in your car, because somebody out there is struggling from the elements. That hoodie can save a life. You've got extra food, throw it in the old hillbilly Tupperware, hit it in the microwave for a couple minutes, take it to them. Your leftovers, your garbage, your soon-to-be dog food, whatever you want, can mean life to someone else that's out there. The smallest act of kindness can be life-saving. Just please remember this. My name is Zach Clayton. I am the president and founder of Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the pACT channels. I want to thank you again for joining us this opening show of the month. Please make sure that you join us again in 2 weeks when we get to hear from our wonderful guests again and find out what else they've got going on. Thank you very much. And we on Friday's show, I had to push the interview that we did with a really good friend of mine, Michael. We're going to be bringing that up on Friday afternoon. But thank you very much. Please remember, Be kind to each other, because you know what? We're all we got.